Hey, what's up? It's Kit. Time for another video. Today, we're gonna expand what we know about circle hooks and how to use them effectively. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thanks for joining us. We talk about the hows and whys of fishing. In this channel, covering everything from big game, ultralight, everything in the middle, including fly fishing. And today we're talking about circle hooks. Now, circle hooks, you either like them or really hate them, but there's a few things that you have to actually know and be very effective with them. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but circle hooks were actually the first hook patterns. It's nothing new. It's ancient, actually. Hooks were made from shells before, so that's why the first hooks were circle hooks. They were round. Then, of course, they made metals, and they're made out of... Eventually, they were made out of metal. But the very first hooks, if you actually do some research on them, were actually made from shells, and they were circles. Now, the good thing about circles is that it automatically sets itself. So if you don't know, okay, when the fish bites the circle, even if they're swallowed, when you pull the line, it turns and hits the scissors right there. That's why you always catch the fish at the corner of the mouth, and you don't jerk the rod to set the hook. Now, the biggest problem I have with circle hooks is actually when you bait them up. And when you bait circle hooks, there's a point where it's going to be like that, and the hook point is kind of covered, okay? Because when you actually bait up, and this part goes on there, the point is not exposed. And if that happens, if you crowd that point, okay, like that, if you crowd it like that, it's not gonna set itself. So you're forced to actually kind of just dangle your bait like that, hook it like that, which in some cases is okay. But if you're using a bait clip, what happens is that chances are it's not going to release because of this. So a lot of people, when they're using bait clips, they make a loop here, okay? And put the loop in the bait clip, which is fine for some applications. It's just like I don't like that loop there, okay? I'm going to show you exactly how some people do it. They use crimps or a knot or whatever, okay? But pretty much they leave a loop there, and then that's where they put their bait clip on, like that. There's actually a better way, okay? See, it dangles and everything like that, moves around, and it's still going to create a lot of drag when you're casting. If you're using circle hooks without a bait clip, that's fine. But again, if you're not clipping your bait and you're casting out far, what happens is that your hook or the bait creates drag, and when it creates drag, what happens is you lose distance. So there is a solution. Now we're gonna tie this up so that we could just show you how it kind of looks like. If you're not snelling your circles, that's tip number one. I think I discussed this in a previous video before. Because your line is like that, might be turned the other way, but as soon as we pull it, it turns, and it always finds the end right there. Now, the South Africans actually have found a really good way of securing your bait so that your point is always proud, and they call it a dingle dangle. For illustration purposes, I will use a somewhat bigger one. It looks like this. You can use something plain, okay, like just a piece of wire, just like this. And what you do is just put it there. And when you bait up, put your bait like so. Like that. And then you secure it at the back right there. Secure it with twine or bait cotton or whatever. Okay? So you go like this. And then you tie on. Let me do that. It's very thin. Okay? Almost invisible. But I'm holding it right there. And then what you need to do is just make sure your dangle is there. And then you secure it. Like that. It's invisible. It holds the bait in place. Like that. Okay. Few turns. Cut it off and it's there. You don't even see it, but it's there. It secures itself too. And what happens is that you have your bait fully secured on that thing. And then you have your bait bound. And even if the peckers are coming, they're eating your bait. Big one comes along, they won't be able to eat all of it because it's bound. So when a big one comes along, they grabs it, hooks positioned correctly, exposed, and that's it. Easy as that. Very good solution. Okay, now in the casting bit, because you have that eye, you could just put it on your bait clip, cast it out, and then when it falls, boom, just like that. Now you can do this, the wire, you could put flotation and build your bait around it, and it'll help for better bait presentation. And it lifts it off the bottom as well. So as far as positioning your bait and presenting it, you can actually you can cover it with, say, strips of bait. Okay, the foam will give it bulk and it gives it flotation. As you can see, the ends here are tapered, and this is just craft foam. Okay, so from there, craft foam, you slice it up, put it around the wire here. You can make it in different sizes. So this one would probably accommodate a smaller foam. And then if you want the rounded edges, all you have to do is just get a lighter, okay, and then run it to the sides, the square sides, and it'll just round it off. Okay, to keep this from moving around, you take shrink tube, cut the appropriate size. This is the part where you actually put on the hook. Cut a small bit like this one here. Okay, put it over, and then run your lighter. And what happens is that the friction created by the shrink tube will keep it on the hook, and it's not going to move around. So that's one method. Another method is when you hook it like that. Okay, you can put your bait cotton or your elastic, put it around there to keep it from moving around. So very, very handy. Okay. Now, you could also make soft versions if you're after fish that kind of don't like wire and stuff like that. This is just a piece of Dacron. Okay, let me zoom in so that you can see. So this is just a piece of Dacron that I doubled over to it in itself. And I bought a bunch of really cheap stainless steel washers for that. Put a knot at the end, burnt the ends so it's nice and clean. Now the washer is the one that clips on to your sinker right there. Okay, let me just pull these off so that we can actually lay it flat so you can see. Okay, so just like that. And then when you cast out, again, it slides off easy. Now, small blocks such as these is what I for this size hook, which is a 5/0. If I want this as a floating dangle, I could just cut a slit there, insert this on. Let me show you. So you could use this for catfishing. You could use this in the surf. Anywhere you would use a circle hook and you're casting it out and fishing the bottom. Okay, so you go like that. Give it a bit of space. Okay. Then take your super glue, put a drop in there, just like that. Close it up. From there, you could trim the sides, or like I said, run a lighter. We're gonna do that with this one. Again, this is the soft version, and the foam is soft. Okay, so if you're worried about the fish feeling the wire and everything, you could use this, and then just round off the sides, or you could get a pair of scissors and trim it. And then what you do is just basically hook this on near the knot. Like that. That's not going anywhere. There we go. Okay. So nice little thing there. You could put when you cut your bait, make it as long as your dangle with this still exposed, okay? And then you can actually build your bait around there. It could be that big with just the dangle sticking out. And it'll work perfectly fine. So something like that, right? You can have a little bit of it. Go like that. Okay, tie that up. Put more bait on this side to cover everything up, and then you have a nicely presented bait. So you can get all creative with this. It is fast, it's easy, gives you a better presentation, and believe it or not, better hookup ratios, because the point is always exposed, and that is the most important thing when it comes to circle hooks. The point should always be unobstructed. Okay, so when the fish comes and takes it, that's it. And most of the time you fish with either chunks or strips on this, that's fine. But putting this dangle on it gives it a bit more support, gives it just better presentation. Since I've actually discovered this years ago, I have been using it, and it has been working really well for me. Very, very popular in South Africa, and I don't really see a lot of this being used anywhere else, especially in the States. Now, again, you could use this for catfishing. You could use this for surf fishing, and they work extremely well. Give it a try. At first I was kind of skeptical, and then when started really using it earnestly, my catch rate has been going up, because instead of just laying on the floor, you can actually make your bait move around in the current, making it a bit more appealing. There are some guys out there that are so creative that when they build their bait around this, it even has tentacles that move around in the current. It looks like a real squid or a live squid, even if it's just made out of dead squid. Okay, again, you can make it as small as this. You can make it big. It really depends on what you're going after. But in South Africa, they use this for everything from small stuff, small food fish, all the way up to sharks and really big stingrays. So yeah, give it a try, guys. Hope you liked the video and learned something. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. If you like the video, of course, give it a thumbs up, please. That's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.